Here we have Berlin Cleffy again, and her spotted saddle horse Flash. Flash is how old? 11. He's 11 years old. He has a problem with barging. He wants to just, he doesn't want to stand even to be mounted. When the rider's up, he wants to go. He doesn't want to whoa or stop very well. He's being ridden in a snaffle bit, and he can run right through that in a New York minute. An awful lot of people think the snaffle is the way to go, and we're going to show that, especially with this horse, mostly with any horse, but especially a horse like this, it's not. We're not going to put a more severe bit in the horse's mouth. We're going to put a less severe bit in the horse's mouth and allow the horse to get comfortable with that bit and just watch the dramatic change in him when we get to working with him. But right now, Verlin's going to mount him for us and show what he does under his traditional tack. By the way, he has a rigid tree, wooden saddle-barred Western tree saddle on him. And the first thing I noticed when we were looking at Flash is that he is uneven in the back. And they've never been able to fit him in a way whereby they didn't have some dry spots on him. And so we know he's also got some back issues. He's very uneven along his top line, and we'll show you that in a few minutes. He's uneven because he's tended to go crooked in order to compensate for the pain that he's feeling in his back. I wish that these horses could sometimes speak up and just look back at us and say, you know what, my right back loin is really hurting me. Would you mind getting down and patting that a little bit? Or would you mind getting down and putting another saddle on me and we can go out and have fun? But unfortunately, they can't do that. All they can do is try through their behavior to communicate the discomfort they have. And every horse does that differently. Behavior issues are one prime way they have of communicating. And it's not because they're trying to be bad horses. It's because they're trying to get away from pain, they feel compromised, and their fight or flight instinct has kicked in. And this is a good time to point out that gaited horses have notoriously been known to be bad actors. They've gotten mud on their face collectively because they need more freedom through the loins back, shoulders, neck, and poll in order to perform their gait comfortably. Well, when they haven't had that freedom, they've had discomfort and pain. That's been exacerbated by the fact that we've put them into really severe bits for control and to get that big arched neck look that we're looking for. And we've just caused a tremendous amount of discomfort and pain to our horses. And when they've fought back or responded instinctually by wanting to fly or flight, then we just say, well, this horse is a bad actor, and we sell him on down the road. And we've got auctions all across the country filled with wonderful gaited horses with no intrinsic problems, good-headed horses that have, through well-meaning owners that have inadvertently been compromised physically. Don't give up on your gaited horse until you know that your tack is doing what it ought to do. As you'll see, Berlin has a horse basically that is out of control. And this is the way he likes to go because he's not comfortable. He's not happy. He's trying to rush out from under the pain that he feels. He's gaping his mouth at that bit that's supposed to be so comfortable. It's actually pinching him in the center of the mouth, causing him to gape and hang his tongue. We're going to get Berlin stopped here so that she can get off and ride him safely from now on.
Barbara Olson is riding Flash for us. Now you might recall that Flash was the horse that had the uneven back, and he also had some hollowing problems. We refit Flash in a different saddle, and we put extra padding on him because it seemed that his back was sore enough to require it. We've also rebit him. Unfortunately, we can see here that Flash has a problem in his right hind stifle. The back problem is the least of his problems, as it seems that he has a problem that comes up commonly with gaited horses, and that is a locking stifle. You notice that he seems to be unable to extend the leg behind him, his right hind leg behind him, so that he can finish the length of stride in his walk. This is actually not causing him any physical distress, but it's definitely hindering his ability to move forward into gait. The good news is that this problem is fairly common with gaited horses, and once again it's usually caused by poor fitting tack and the horse hollowing out and extending his leg too far behind him in the stride. This is generally caused when the horse tends to pace or do a stepping pace, a very unsound gait for any kind of gaited horse. The problem that Flash is exhibiting is commonly caused by horses that tend to pace or step pace, whereby they carry too much weight over their hind leg for too long in the stride, placing too much stress on the hocks and stifles. The good news is that though this is a fairly common problem with gaited horses, if we teach our horses to go in a correct frame, well collected, and we exercise them well so that they carry their weight over their haunches rather than all strung out so that too much weight is carried on their front end, we can help this horse to actually go sound again, and there won't be any further problems. Now we're going to have Barb work this horse for just a few minutes, and you're going to be able to see that by allowing him to loosen up and stride out, he's going to work this problem out in his leg quite a bit in just a few minutes. But for the viewer who has a horse with this kind of problem, the best thing is to allow this horse to really work well. A lot of collecting work is good for them. A lot of work up hills is very good for them. You'll find that when such a horse gets too tired, the problem will tend to crop up. So you want to start working for maybe 15 minutes at a time and extend that to 20 and 30 minutes at a time. Within a month, a problem like this can be really fairly well taken care of for the rest of the horse's life, just so long as the horse is kept in condition and always ridden properly. You'll see here that Flash stands with his head tilted strongly to the right. He has uneven development across his top line. His right shoulder is much larger than his left, and he stands with his right hip higher than his left, though both legs are straight firmly on the ground. This has been caused by his trying to move in a crooked fashion, because every time he went to take a step under saddle, his back would come up and hit a pressure point, and so he would start to go sort of sideways or in a crabwise fashion in order to avoid that pressure. You're seeing here the long-term effects of that kind of problem. He's learned to go uneven in everything that he does in order to avoid the pressure of hitting up against the saddle when he tries to finish his stride in his gait. It can be useful to check your own horse for this kind of problem, as it's common with gaited horses. To do so, what you'll want to do is have someone stand at the horse's head while you stand on a sturdy stool several feet behind the horse. Look down the horse's back. Watch to see if the horse holds his head strongly to the right or to the left rather than straight. You'll want to check to see if the muscles are developed evenly from the right to the left, and if the horse's hips, when he's standing evenly on both legs, are even across the top line. If you find that your horse has gone crooked, it can be useful to bring in a good equine massage therapist to help get your horse on better ground, and then you'll definitely want to think about refitting your horse with better saddling and or padding.